Have you ever stopped for a moment and questioned your reality? Like, why do people hand over a piece of paper to get food, clothes, or even a car? At the end of the day, it's just paper. Okay, sure, it has some fancy colors and a random dude's face on it, but still paper. And if it's just paper, that means somebody out there has the power to print it. And guess what? While you're watching this, new money is being created every single day. But here's the twist. Most of it isn't even paper anymore. It's just numbers on a screen. We trade digits for stuff too, because, well, everyone agrees those digits mean something. Crazy, right? So, how exactly is this money created in the first place? Actually, the vast majority of the world's money exists in digital or electronic form, rather than as physical cash, because we trust the numbers in the system, not the paper itself. Let's step back to a time before money existed, where trade was done through bartering. Before money even existed, people still had a trade. Imagine a farmer who needed a new tool. He went to the local toolmaker and said, "I'll give you some grain later." The toolmaker trusted him and gave the tool. 2 weeks later, the farmer shows up with fresh grain and the deal is settled. But here's the problem. Promises don't always work. You see, relying on someone else's word can leave you vulnerable when things go wrong. So people started using stuff that everyone wanted: cattle, grain, salt, things you could eat, store, or use. That made trade easier. But let's be honest, dragging a cow everywhere just to buy something? Not very convenient. And paying with a sack of grain was messy too. That's why people had to find something better. Eventually, people discovered a better solution: metal coins. Gold and silver were small, shiny, and valuable. They didn't rot like grain, and they were way easier to carry than a cow. Suddenly, trade exploded. A farmer in China could sell silk, and a merchant in Europe could pay with coins. Coins made trade simple, fast, and global. But carrying bags of gold wasn't perfect either. They were heavy, and thieves loved them. That problem set the stage for the next big invention: paper money. In 17th century London, trusted goldsmiths came up with an idea. Leave your gold with us, and we'll keep it safe. In return, they gave people a paper note, a promise that you could come back anytime and get your gold. That note had no real value, but because everyone trusted the goldsmith, it was as good as gold. People started trading the notes instead of the coins. Here's where it gets sneaky. Goldsmiths realized most people never came back to claim their gold. So they started printing extra notes, fake promises that weren't backed by gold at all. They'd loan these notes out, charge interest, and make a profit. More money was now floating around, even though no new gold existed. And just like that, the first version of our modern banking system was born. Fast forward to today, not much has really changed. The goldsmiths became banks. And those paper promises? They became the digital numbers you see in your bank account. When you deposit money, the bank doesn't just lock your cash in a vault. Instead, it owes you that money. Your balance is basically a digital promise note. And here's the wild part. When banks give out loans, they don't hand over stacks of cash. They just type new numbers into your account. Poof, brand new money that never existed before. Yes, they create new money, not take it from someone else. When you pay it back, you're returning the original amount, and the interest is pure profit for the bank. So just like the goldsmiths, banks today create money out of thin air. Only now it's not paper notes, it's digits on a screen. But here's the catch. Back then, paper promises were backed by real gold sitting in a vault. Today, there's no gold behind your money. What backs it now is trust. Trust in the government, trust in the central bank, and trust that tomorrow everyone will still accept these digits as payment. In other words, our entire money system runs on belief. Here's where it gets even crazier. When a bank creates new money with a loan, it doesn't just sit still. That money instantly enters the economy. Let's say you borrow money to buy a car. The dealership gets paid. The dealer then pays their employees. The employees use that money to buy groceries, clothes, or maybe a new phone. From that single loan, hundreds of new transactions can happen. Each time the money changes hands, it creates value, powers businesses, and keeps the economy moving. This continuous movement can make it feel like there's more money in circulation than was actually created. People may think the economy is booming, leading them to spend more. However, money doesn't always match productivity. If we keep creating new money but don't create more stuff to buy, prices start climbing. That's inflation. Inflation is like a sneaky magician. One day, you've got $10 and can buy a whole meal, and the next, it only gets you a sad sandwich. It's when prices rise, so your money doesn't go as far. Your money buys less and less, even though you're earning the same. That's the hidden cost of printing money. It quietly eats away at your savings, your salary, and even your future. So, who decides how much money should exist and how fast it should grow? That job belongs to the government and the central bank. On one side, you have the government. When it needs money, it issues bonds, basically IOUs promising to pay back later with interest. Banks, corporations, and even foreign governments buy these bonds, handing over cash in exchange. That cash goes into government spending, paying salaries, building roads, funding the military, and sometimes delivering freedom abroad. The money then circulates back into the economy. But here's the problem. Governments usually spend more than they collect in taxes. To cover the gap, they issue even more bonds. It's like taking out a new loan to pay off your old one. On the other side, you have the central bank, the bank of banks. When commercial banks run low on reserves, they can borrow from the central bank. And if needed, the central bank can even create new money electronically to buy government bonds itself. This back and forth keeps money flowing through the system, but it also means governments are constantly borrowing, while central banks are constantly ready to create more money to support all. It's a cycle that never really ends. Just like that credit card bill you keep paying and paying and paying. To sum up, money today is created through people's loans and government's debt. New money keeps entering the system, not by printing more paper, but by typing new digits into existence. The holy trinity keeping this system standing are trust, loans, and debt. But here's the danger. History shows that every currency built only on these pillars eventually crumbles. From Rome's silver coins turning into cheap metal, to Germany's wheelbarrows of cash, to Zimbabwe's trillion-dollar bills that couldn't even buy bread, not once in history has fiat money proven stable. The danger is simple. When governments and banks push the cycle too far, people lose faith. And once that trust breaks, the money itself dies. Just think about it. The system survives only as long as we believe in it. So here we are, living in a world where money is numbers on a screen, held up by nothing more than trust. The question is, how long can this last? Because history shows no mercy to fiat money. Every empire thought their currency would live forever, until it didn't. So maybe the real question for us is what money will become next. Will it be government-controlled digital currencies? Will it be decentralized crypto? The real question for you is, what do you trust more? The government, the banks, or the code behind crypto? Let me know in the comments. I'm reading them all. The dollar might not last forever, but this conversation will. Subscribe, like, and join us for the next chapter.